Hey guys, welcome to week 262 of the Super Mario World RomHack Races. Today's level is 2 Slices of Cake by hwailaluta. It's rated 5 for both execution and complexity, and I'm pretty sure this is hwailaluta's first RomHack race level. But there's apparently a lot more from this level that was on the cutting room floor that should be made available sometime soon. I haven't played any of their previous work, but Hwaila has put out 4 solo RomHacks and collaborated for the 2021 Hack Jam on Takeshi Yumping Simulator. Let's go ahead and get started. Two slices of vanilla cake. Not too much and not too little. This first section starts out with a little escort section between these 2 bowling balls. There's not really a whole lot you can do about the bowling balls except stay between them and keep from touching them. And you also have to avoid jumping too high and hitting the spikes. There's just 2 tiles of space above Small Mario's head before the spikes. That would allow you to do a very small spin jump and get a little bit of height without hurting yourself. We call those 2-frame jumps because if you hold the button any longer than 2 frames, you jump too high. But once you have the power up, you're no longer allowed to do those. Thankfully, it's a lot easier to hit things with a fireball than it is to do 2-frame jumps on everything. Now the bowling balls would stop the fireballs, so I can't just shoot early. I have to wait until the enemy is actually between me and the bowling ball. I got extremely lucky with the mole there. Walking on the slope is going to be a little bit more difficult, since Mario's speed is going to be drastically affected, and while I'm standing on the steep slope, he'll start to slide downhill. So up ahead I can see the munchers on the floor. I know I'm going to be taking damage no matter what, and the coins would normally indicate I get P-speed and just do a big jump at the end of them. Really excellent indication on that section there. And this section with the ball and chains is pretty readable also. Unfortunately, I was in kind of a hurry, so I kept jumping out ahead, and I couldn't see where I was supposed to be landing ahead of time. Now, the grinder that we have on this slope, it doesn't look like something you'd be able to slide kill, but if you're on the slope and start sliding, you'll go right through it. The other thing that I get out of that slope is more speed than I would normally get just by running, which lets me land on that net more easily. Punching that door on the net takes me around to the other side. The thwomps won't hurt me while I'm on the other side, and I think I probably could get there fast enough to get to the other side before the thwomps would get me. I was never able to make it work in this section though. I just found it way easier to grab onto the net and jump around the thwomps as they went down. And I had already tested my jump height from the net on the previous attempt, so I know I don't actually need to go to the other side. I can just line myself up and go. Now I actually needed to hit that turn block right away. If I didn't, the fireball wouldn't come down, and I need to use it right away to stay alive. I'm just reacting here and jumping off the fireball because it doesn't look like there's anything else I can do. And I misread this section right here because I think I need to bounce off the red Koopa to get over to the left, but I'm supposed to spin jump off that platform and go back to riding the fireball. My reads were pretty good on that first attempt. The only thing that I didn't do as intended was jumping off of that second red Koopa, which just would have made it easier to get onto the platform. Now after I get the midway, I still have the fire coming over to the left with me, and I'm hoping that I can use it to cheese some of the rest of the section, but we've got a row of death blocks over to the left that wouldn't let me go any further. Now I can see that Koopa flying in from the bottom left corner of the screen. The dry bones is going to wake back up, and I can go from the dry bones to the Koopa to get over to the left side. I just have to stay on the vine and avoid this angry thwomp face, which I'm pretty sure is a fuzzy, while I'm waiting for everything to line up properly. Now I did actually plan to use the dry bones there, but I waited too long on the vine there, and I tried to just go straight down to the Koopa because I was too slow. The moon doesn't do anything for you, but I think it'd be hard to make that jump without collecting it. Now these dry bones fish, they don't normally exist outside of water, but you can spin jump on them safely, and you can also slide kill them. You'll notice that I'm actually killing them more than one time as I'm sliding through them. They work a little bit like torpedo Teds, where even though they're dead, they can still damage you. I'm just hitting them again because I'm still sliding. Now, the rotating brown platform here is pretty difficult to use. The longer you stay on it, the faster it goes. And it doesn't care that you're in water. So long as you're standing on it, it'll let you move through the water much faster than you'd normally be able to. That little group of 4 boos that are floating together, that's actually a sea mine. That means it'll float up to the top of the water, and I can spin jump off of the part that's above the water. I have to time this jump pretty well so I get as high a jump as possible. The floating platform that we see here will steadily sink down into the water as long as Mario is standing on it. Something that's very important to remember is that the current from the water is still pushing me to the left as I get back in the water. It's a very delicate balancing act, staying between the boo ring that's on the right side and the rocks that are falling down on the left side. I need the platform to be low enough that it lets me down below that wall, and I also need a gap in the boo ring because I'm just not moving fast enough to the right to be able to walk through a small gap. Once I've gotten past the rocks, so long as I'm patient, the rest of that is basically free. You can clip through ledges by holding up on a rope. Also, rip tide. Seeing that message box is actually very, very helpful. Rope clips are a pretty neat little trick, but they're not something that you do all the time. So it's good to have a refresher there, reminding you that the trick is possible. So what we've done here is we've stood on one side of the scale mushroom platform long enough for the other side to go up and eat through the line-guided track. That gets the boo chainsaw out of the way, and it also lets the rope fall off to let me do the rope clip. Here it would technically be possible for me to jump between the small gaps of the boo rings. I'm gonna wait for the big gaps to line up. And we have enough sprites on screen that we're just getting a ton of lag right now. If it wasn't for the current on this water, I actually would have made that. I think somehow I'm spawning in these boo rings a little differently than I did last time, and I don't have as easy a gap to get in and out of on those boo rings. I need to kind of thread the needle between those 2 boo sea mines. I'm making sure to stay swimming here and not walk. That lets me move just a tiny bit faster, and my timing for going under the fish is just a lot better. Now, on my way over to the right, I saw the shell. I'm expecting for there to be a star in this block. It's really the only thing that would make sense. I very nearly get myself with the shell. Now, I did need to make sure that I had the shell in my hand as I grabbed that star. Otherwise, having a star active would break the shell as I tried to pick it up. I can already tell what I'm supposed to be doing here. Having the shell in my hand will let me item swim. That moves me a lot faster horizontally than I would be able to swim otherwise. And you can see the star just runs out before I'm able to even see anything over to the right. So my goal with the shell and the fish is to use it to go as far and as fast to the right as I possibly can, while I'm avoiding all the fish who are going to try to take the shell away from me. I do have a little bit of leeway here, but I panic right at the end, because I can tell the star is about to run out. Now, there's a move here where we have to swim in that one tile gap. I hate that move. This is exactly the same message box that we saw before, and again, it's taking away the water. Normally, you want to try to avoid doing that. That's a classic troll in Kaizo. Now, putting together the fact that we did a rope clip before, and we see another rope with a similar type of setup, I'm expecting to have to do another rope clip. I actually didn't mean to hit the message box here, but I keep going over to the right just to see what I can do. It's certainly a lot easier to survive and let the mushroom go up without the water. But the rope falls down fast enough and there's nothing for me to clip through. I'm sort of expecting it to be different with water, for the rope to just carry me over and do something completely different with water physics. What I did is I jumped over in the water on the right side, far enough to the side where the left fish would be off screen, and then not spawn in because I have the spawn point still loaded in on screen. So I've broken the track and I'm riding the rope down into the water this time, and it does basically the same thing again. Inside of a single level, message boxes in S&W can give one of two different messages, and it's based on where they're placed in the level. I wish that that was a different message, just so I wouldn't be trying to rope clip again. Instead, I'm just hitting the mushroom as high as it can possibly go and using the rope to get up to the top of it. I did really like the style of this level, where it was a bunch of small sections that were relatively easy to complete. The last little section kind of left a bad taste in my mouth because of the difficulty of getting in that gap, and the message box just felt like it was a red herring. But my time for this level was 24 minutes and 48 seconds. That put me in 7th place out of 14 racers who finished. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to keep putting out these videos showing my part of every week's RomHack race. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more here on YouTube. You can also find me on Twitch and TikTok. My links are down in the description.
It's over!